A civilization on the edge. The Nile has abandoned its people, and the earth has cracked open like a wound.
Something is coming, not from the east, not from the west, but from a dream no one yet understands. Memphis, the heart of the ancient world, powerful, proud, and completely unprepared. His name was Yusuf, a prisoner, a forgotten man, but some people are born to rise from the lowest places.
I've seen things I cannot unsee. 7 fat cows devoured by 7 hollow ones. What does it mean? Nobody in this palace can tell me.
Word had reached the throne. There was a man in the dungeons, a man who could see what others could not. He walked through halls built for kings, still wearing the dust of prison on his feet, yet every step he took felt like it belonged there.
7 years of abundance are coming. Then 7 years of hunger so severe, the plenty will be completely forgotten.
The prophecy wasn't just a warning, it was an instruction, a blueprint drawn in grain and time.
I've never heard wisdom like this. From this moment, you are the grand treasurer of Egypt. Save my people, Yusuf.
The abundance years had begun, and while the world feasted, Yusuf was already planning for the silence that would follow. The first rule of the Yusuf strategy: never waste a surplus. Every grain is a day someone will survive the coming darkness.
Why are we giving up 1/5 of everything we've grown? Look around. There's more food than we could ever eat.
He didn't argue with the skeptics. He built 40 silos, then 100, a national fortress made of stone and foresight. The secret was in the husk. Leave the grain unthreshed, and it could outlast a decade. Simple, brilliant, irreversible. From village to city, from delta to desert, a supply chain stretched across the entire kingdom. Nothing like it had ever been built. This was not luck. This was not magic. This was a mind working at a scale no one around him had dared to imagine. Every sack counted, every allocation logged. In a world ruled by chaos, Yusuf governed with precision. Then the rain stopped. The Nile pulled back. The green world that everyone had taken for granted simply disappeared.
The Nile failed us. Everything we planted is gone. There's nothing left to give our children tonight.
While the world outside starved, deep inside those stone walls, the grain was still there. Every single sack, exactly as planned. Word spread faster than wind. Egypt has bread. And so they came, from Canaan, from Nubia, from the ends of the known world. He was no longer just a treasurer. He was the man standing between 1 million hungry people and the end of civilization. Wealth changed hands. Gold flowed in, grain flowed out, and somehow, in the chaos of famine, order held. No one saw him in the quiet hours, alone with the numbers, the requests, the weight of decisions that meant life or death for thousands.
We gave you our gold. We gave you our land. All we have left is ourselves. Please, don't turn us away.
The hardest ledger to balance isn't gold versus grain, it's survival versus dignity. Yusuf refused to let go of either. He recognized them the moment they stepped through the gate. 10 men in Canaanite robes, the same hands that had once thrown him into a well. He stood above the desert and felt the full weight of time. Everything that happened, the pit, the prison, the years, had led here.
Bring them to me. I'll handle this myself.
He gave, without anger, without condition. The man they had wronged became the hand that fed them. They stood before the grand treasurer of Egypt and asked for grain. They had no idea who he was.
I am Yusuf, the brother you sold, the one you buried in a well. I'm still here, and I'm not here to punish you.
What you meant as destruction, God used to build something none of us could have planned. There is no blame on you today.
The fracture that had split a family across years and continents finally quietly healed.
This man saved Egypt. He saved the region. Bring his entire family here. Let them live as honored guests of the crown.
Slowly, impossibly, the river returned, as if the land itself had been waiting, trusting that the worst was finally over. One green shoot, then another, then 10,000. Life doesn't announce its return, it just quietly begins again. The desert that had swallowed everything slowly gave it all back. Egypt breathed again. They laughed in the streets, and they didn't fully understand why they were still alive. But Yusuf knew every single reason. He stood at the river's edge and felt something he hadn't allowed himself in years: peace. The silos stood long after the famine, a monument not to power, but to preparation, to the quiet courage of thinking ahead. 14 years. 2 phases, 1 vision, drawn on papyrus, carved into history. He didn't just save a generation, he showed the next one what it looks like to build a future while everyone else is celebrating the present. The strategy was documented, preserved, because a plan that saves a civilization deserves to outlive the man who created it. 3,500 years later, the principles are unchanged. Reserve, distribute, sustain. The use of strategy never expired. 7 up, 7 down. The oldest economic cycle ever recorded, and the only one with a plan built into its prophecy. A prisoner who became a planner. A forgotten man who fed the world, not because he was powerful, but because he was prepared. The Yusuf strategy: secure the future. If this story changed how you think about preparation and leadership, share it. Someone needs to see this today.